Alright, hello guys, how's it going? In today's video, we're going to be taking a look again at that upcoming severe weather potential and then also that major snowstorm that is coming to the Rocky Mountains and portions of the Northern Plains. Now, before I get started with this video though, I would ask that you do subscribe if you do like weather-related content, and also make sure to share this video with your friends, family, and social media. And I'd also highly recommend that you check out our very exciting Patreon page in the description and in the pinned comments down below, and then also our very awesome channel membership that you can check out next to that subscribe button. Anyway, for today's comment of the day, I want to know, how much snowfall do you think is the maximum we will be seeing in the Rockies and the Northern Plains after all of these winter storms and snowstorms are said and done? Let me know in the comments down below, and I'll be picking one of those for tomorrow's video. Now, let's get straight into things, and first things first, we're taking a look at our day one categorical outlook for that severe weather, and as you can see, we have a second marginal risk area, actually. Now, we still have that one down there for Oklahoma, Kansas, and Missouri, with a slight risk in there as well, but we also have that marginal risk up there for Iowa, also up through and through Minnesota and Wisconsin, and there's already some thunderstorms ongoing with that one. That's one that's going to be done by the late morning. Here's our day one wind outlook. So this is a 5% chance of damaging winds within 25 miles of a given location here in these green shades. So you can see there's two of those. Here is our hail risk, and as you can see, again, 5% chance within 25 miles of a given location there within the greens, but we also have that 15% chance within 25 miles of a given location there in that yellow. All right, now let's get straight into the tornado risk, and as you can see, we now have a 2% chance, just like I said yesterday, would likely occur. I definitely saw this one coming here for Wisconsin, Minnesota, and Iowa, there where I was fairly confident that we would get upgraded to that 2% risk. Given the fact that we're going to have some supercells around, it makes a lot of sense. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to move on and we're going to dive straight into the simulated radar and some other severe weather implications. And then we're going to move on to day 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and beyond. Now, here's our simulated radar, and this is by this morning, so around the time I'm making this audio at around 7 a.m. or so. And as you can see, we do have plenty of thunderstorms ongoing for pretty much most of Iowa, Minnesota, and Wisconsin at this point. We do have those thunderstorms ongoing. Again, a chance of tornadoes, a chance of hail, and also a little bit of a chance of wind as well with those storms. But it's mostly the ones that are going to be happening very late this evening there for Oklahoma and Texas and Kansas that we're a little bit more worried about. Remember, we showed the European model and the Cape wasn't that high. That was as of yesterday. Well, now that we get the short-range models, we're looking at 1,000 plus Cape widespread throughout Texas, Oklahoma, and Kansas. So, again, once it gets to those short-range models, we do get higher amounts of Cape usually, which is convective available potential energy. It's basically thunderstorm food, and they eat that to become stronger and more severe in most cases. The high temperatures are going to be well up into the 70s, 80s, some areas in the 60s, but generally in the 70s for the most part or above for our severe weather regions down here for the second slight risk area. And then that dew points are going to be in the upper 50s or 60s throughout the night tonight as well. Now, with all of those things being said, what we're going to do is we're going to move on and we're going to take a look at the simulated radar to see what these thunderstorms are going to do because of these implications. Now, unfortunately, I will not be live streaming these severe thunderstorms, and here's the reason why. By 8 p.m., we still won't have those supercells developing yet. It's going to be a very late night event. It's beyond when I will even be awake, or most of you will be for the most part anyway. So this is, again, about 7 or 8 p.m. here, and there's still no thunderstorms around for Oklahoma and Kansas. By the time we're reaching about 10 p.m., we begin to see those develop. But it's not really until about 1 or 2 a.m. that we really see those go underway for Kansas. So again, just a little bit too late, really. Most people aren't even going to be up anyway. So unfortunately for this event, it doesn't really make sense for me to live stream it. Now, as we move on to day 2, you can see we do have a marginal risk there with some general thunderstorm risks outside of it. Wouldn't be surprised if we do see a slight risk within there. But there isn't much to be said about day 2. The risk isn't as high as it is today or the days after day 2. So it generally just isn't the biggest risk day that we have going on. There is a 5% chance of hail within 25 miles of a given location here, as you can see, for Texas, Oklahoma, Missouri, Kansas, Arkansas. We have that green area there that is pretty large where we could have some hail going on throughout the day tomorrow. Again, it does look like a late night event as well. Tomorrow, later in the evening, is when we will have most of those thunderstorms ongoing. So that seems to be the trend so far this severe weather season. Hopefully that doesn't continue because, first off, night storms are more dangerous. And second off, I'm much more likely to live stream an event that's happening at, let's say, 1 or 2 p.m. rather than 1 or 2 a.m., obviously. So I will be able to give you guys more content if these events are happening more in the day. Anyway, what we're going to do here is we're going to move on towards the wind risk for day 2, and then we're going to move on towards day 3, where we have a little bit of a higher risk, and we're even going to take a look at day 4 and 5, and then even beyond in just a moment. Now, for that wind risk here for day 2, you can see we do have a 5% chance as well there for Oklahoma, Missouri, and Arkansas. It's a little bit smaller than that hail risk, but generally encompasses very similar regions. Again, we could get a slight risk tomorrow, but I'm kind of doubtful of that, actually, to be honest with you. So let's go ahead and take a look at day 3, and I'm not going to break down day 3 at all yet as far as radar or anything like that. It's a little bit further out, obviously. We're going to need to get a little bit closer, but we do have a slight risk returning there for Texas and Oklahoma for now, and then we have that marginal risk for Texas, Oklahoma, Kansas, and Missouri, as well as a little bit of the corner there of Arkansas as well. So we do have a pretty good risk there for Friday and through Saturday, very, very early morning. This does leave room for some upgrades to perhaps an enhanced risk if this does get a little bit larger, but it actually seems like day 3 isn't even the biggest severe weather day yet, because as we take a look at day 4, you can see they have a very large 15% chance region, and that usually translates to a slight risk there, that 15% chance. 30% chance would be an enhanced risk or more. And usually they leave room for some upgrades. So if you see the 30% chance, that means almost definitely you will see an enhanced risk, and then it's pretty likely that you will see a moderate risk or more. I don't know why I'm saying this because we don't even have a 30% chance, but what I'm saying here is that this is a very large 15% chance, and I would not be surprised to see an enhanced risk eventually within that if the slight risk is that big. Usually you don't see them just leave a slight risk that large without adding an enhanced in the middle. This usually means they're more confident in that severe weather, and they think it will be a little bit worse. And look, it's the same story generally for day 5, as you can see, just a little bit further east. We see portions of Texas, Louisiana, Arkansas, Missouri, Kansas, and Oklahoma in there as well. So we, again, will be looking at a slight to possibly more, possibly enhanced, possibly moderate risk in there. I'm thinking slight to enhanced is generally that range we're going to be in for day 4 and 5. I don't think we're seeing any moderates or high risk days yet. Although, in a minute, we're going to move towards next week where I think we have an even higher risk there in just a moment. I'll take a look at that. So as you can see, we have our cape here on screen, and this is for Tuesday at about 1 p.m. And I think that Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday has a much higher risk of severe weather than this upcoming weekend. So I think it is very possible we see enhanced risks or more for Tuesday, Wednesday, and or Thursday. It could be all 3. It could be 1 of the 3. It could be 2 of the 3. I don't really know, but I know that all 3 of the days have high potential to see severe weather. So there in the greens, we're taking a look at about 1,000, maybe a little bit under 1,000. Let's call it 800 to about 1,500 cape, which is good enough for severe weather. But then we see the yellow showing up. That's where we're at 1,500 to 2,000 cape. And then those reds showing up there for Texas and Oklahoma, or sorry, Texas and Louisiana. That's where we're at about 2,500 to 4,000 cape. And that's when you're taking a look at very high cape amounts, which is going to lead to very high potentials for some very potent storms. Usually you're looking at supercells in this type of an event where we would be seeing a pretty good chance of hail and tornadoes. That's just my first guess for that, a very long range guess. But as we move towards Wednesday, things get even worse as we see the very widespread reds there. Again, 2,500 to 3,000 to even close to 4,000 amounts there for large regions there in Texas, where I think supercells are going to be likely with hail and tornadoes possible. But again, very long range outlook there. So even though it's looking likely at this point, this could fizzle out. We don't really know, but it's looking likely at this point. And then Thursday, although it looks like the least potential out of the 3 days there, it still has those yellows, which is 1,500 to 3,000 amounts there for portions of Alabama, Florida, and Georgia, potentially even Louisiana as well, where again we will likely have a severe weather risk there on Thursday, March 18th. Even Friday, you can see some of that for Florida as well. So this is just going to be a long weekend and a long week next week with severe weather, our first little sample of what spring could have to come. Anyway, for the total snowfall real quick, because I wanted to talk about the other things I obviously included in the thumbnail with this major winter storm. We're looking at a massive winter storm here, guys, with the snowfall. Colorado, Wyoming, Nebraska, South Dakota. This could be bordering on historic, obviously, if this is to occur this way. We have a maximum of 86 inches being picked up by this European model, somewhere in there, probably on a mountaintop, which is obviously extreme amounts of snowfall. But if you're anywhere in those kind of teal colors there or more, you're at 20 inches plus. And if you're working your way into those purples, that's where you're at about 36 inches plus, which you can see that's widespread, or it's more of like a pink color actually, but it's like the second pink color. I don't really like Weatherbell's snowfall color table here because they kind of have two separate pinks, which makes it very confusing. But anywhere there in Wyoming, Nebraska, South Dakota, Colorado as well, that's where we're taking a look at the potential for 2, 3, even 4 feet of snow. So this is going to be a very obviously very major snowfall there if that is to occur that way. For the total precipitation as well with that flooding, we're taking a look at the potential for 1, 2, 3, or even 4 inches of rainfall there for portions of the Ohio Valley and portions of the Northeast, getting up to an inch of rainfall. So I think there is some flooding potential. The Mid-Atlantic more like 1, 2, 3 inches, which is just going to be leading to some flooding risk for areas that are susceptible to the flooding. And we have seen a lot of precipitation over the past month or two. So those, are already pretty saturated. So that's going to increase that risk a lot as well. Anyway, for my confidence tab, I'm at a 5 out of 6 still. There is some chance that this is a little bit of an underperformer or an overperformer, but generally I feel very good about this. Anyway, for today's comment of the day, I asked you guys, which day do you think is going to be worse for severe weather? And Suburb Storm said, I think that day 6 will be the worst. It looks pretty crazy down in Oklahoma. And by the way, day 6 as of yesterday, which is when this comment came in, I think is going to be actually Friday. So that's the day that Suburb Storm said. Nobody else really specified the day, so I picked this one. It got 11 likes. So we will see if you're right or not. I hope nothing bad happens. Anyway, for today's patron highlight of the day, I want to thank you all for supporting the channel, but especially our platinum patrons: Sebastian Tao, John Benbenick, James Wade, Dovey Nagel, Alan Belemo, Adam S., Larry LePan, Donna Carnes, Cameron Marshall, and Aiden Mattis. Alongside our diamond patrons: Bill Roberts, Alan Cherry, Marcus Connolly, Noah Harley, Michael Codalessa, Michael Buell, Catbite, Charles Stinnett, Kellen Manhart, It's Jay, Cindy Klein, Mark J, Luke Falago, Gary's, and John Quilisi. If you would like to be a part of this patron end screen of the day, you can do so by joining our very exciting Patreon page in the description and in the pinned comments down below. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching this video. Again, be sure to share it with your friends, family, and social media. I will see you guys in the next video.